Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you guys are all well. I am Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. So yeah, we didn't get much acceleration at all above this into this area after we cleared this resistance area. We had a few wicks into our next level, which was about 48,000, which incidentally is also the 200-day. It was a 200-day moving average that we were getting rejected by. So yeah, we found ourselves back below this resistance area, and at present looking to try and bounce off roughly this next area that we've got in. We could actually draw this as an area. I think I said this in a few videos ago, but I didn't want to draw too many areas in here. But yeah, you can kind of see this area, the lower part of it here, the upper part of it here. That is where we are attempting to bounce. So yeah, this is a great place for us to bounce if we are going to continue on with this move upwards. Or if not, failing that, if we do get basically below 44,000, then yeah, into this area, this 42,000 level, and also this trend line would be where we'd pretty much need to bounce, because if we do obviously lose this trend line in this area, then I mean realistically would have to be targeting mid $30,000, but yeah, but obviously it's all to play for at the moment. We can get support here and move back on above this resistance area, then take out these wicks and accelerate into the 50Ks, or we can come back down lower potentially over the weekend, when obviously we know the fun sometimes likes to happen obviously in more liquid markets. Maybe that's when the evil manipulators push us down towards this support area and this trend line before obviously then that's being a nice buy area for them to buy us back up and then break us onwards and upwards. We shall have to see. Obviously, we do get driven a lot by traditional markets, so we will have a go and look at how they are doing. So yeah, S&P, very similar to Bitcoin, did get above an important level, failed to get much acceleration above, so now it's fallen back below. But this is not bad at all in the context of the chart so far. As long as we hold this area that we're in, hold it within this area, and then ultimately break back above and onwards and upwards, it will be looking good. Obviously lose this area, it won't look as good. We've got to get supported down here, and then even coming down as low as 4,400, getting supported and moving back up would not be that bad. It would just look like a massive inverted head and shoulders, but obviously losing this level is when it will start to look like very bad basically, and we'll be looking potentially at taking out these lows, but it is all to play for at the moment, and I do suspect that we can get supported within this range and then move onwards and upwards. We are obviously into the new month now, and new quarter, so we could obviously see some messing around with markets, maybe some hedges put on, some downside protection, which will then have to be hedged by the market makers, then could force price down, and then we can see what happens going forwards. Some other, I mean, Nasdaq as well, Nasdaq is basically at the moment in this support area. It kind of needs to hold this area, this zone, for us to look good. If we fall back below here, then I mean we could, who knows how low we could go then. There's not too many areas that can support price. I mean, this is clearly one that we will draw in. This level here would clearly be a support level that we can then bounce off, but realistically we want to hold this area, hold in this zone, trade sideways, and then move onwards and upwards. That is the dream. The DXY, which we were looking at obviously as targeting this horizontal area, which it did basically get down to and bounce off. So yeah, bounce off here. Do we come back and hit this trend line and come back down, or do we break above it again? But yeah, this bounce was to be expected. Maybe it has gone on a bit further than we would potentially have liked. But yeah, we'll have to see whether this turns back around, or whether we do break this trend line a second time and move onwards and upwards. But it's kind of looking like a descending triangle X out this bit of price action here, so maybe we can make a move lower here. Don't forget, there is going to have to be all sorts of shenanigans going on with stimulus and yield curve control potentially in the US, with obviously bond yields just not conducive to a good economic environment for a heavily indebted world and nation as a whole. But yeah, the 10 years you can see moving back up a bit here. I mean, could be looking toppy here, but this is pretty much the limit, the level that a lot of people are looking at for the 10-year. So we'll have to see if we do push on upwards, as they don't expect us to, or whether we do come down. We are at Raoul Powell's trend line of truth, in his chart of truth. Basically, if we break much higher, then yeah, things can look very different. The ruble going for like nearly a full retrace here. And you can see as soon as we break through this area, it was pretty bullish. What I will also say is that there are some obviously Putin is saying that he's demanding Europeans pay for their oil in rubles, and that means they're going to have to open Russian banks to then do their clearing through. So yeah, very smart move. Obviously the Europeans are in their true you get these pathetic people like, oh, that's blackmail, They're basically what they're saying. There's blackmail, you can't force us to do that. And it's like, you've got all sorts of sanctions and crazy stuff on Russia, but if Russia says, oh, if you want this oil, you're just gonna have to pay for it in our currency, then they're like, it's blackmail. Just pathetic people like that. I just can't stand them. It's basically the whole left, the whole of this, the people that think they're better than you, the global elites. I mean, they do one thing, they whinge about the other thing, pretend like they're better than you. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to do stuff to Russia, it's going to do stuff back. Yeah, you just have to deal with it, otherwise you don't get your gas, do you? You don't get your gas. Shouldn't be so dependent on gas and then start causing trouble with the person you're dependent on gas from, should you? Idiots. Yeah, US oil, as you can see, moving down. That was my bias, was to the downside. So yeah, you can see trying to break below this trend line here. So if we do break here, then yeah, I mean, we've got a zone, we've got like a nice area of price action here. We'll have to draw this in, because this could be as good as a sell-off can potentially get for oil. Maybe we don't get much below this. I mean, in the current climate of things, I would suspect we're going to struggle to see lower than here. It is quite a wide area. Obviously the upside is 94 and the lower side is 89, so it's quite a thick juicy area if it gets supported in. But I mean, failing a recession, which I don't think we're going to get this year, I do think we're going to struggle to see oil much below 90, and if we do, probably will be a bit of a squeeze to the downside. But like I said, the whole world, every finance 1.0 guy seems to be overly bullish on oil. Literally, it's all they talk about, oil and commodities and all that stuff. So yeah, just to see us keep pulling back in the face of that extreme bullishness would look quite normal. And then yeah, then we can basically try and see if we can bounce off there. The Bitcoin dominance, nice here as well. Did break obviously down from our trend line here and into our support area, which is nice. Initially tried to bounce around it, but we are now falling into it. So this is good for an indication of risk appetite in crypto, and is kind of looking at this printing obviously then a lower high relative to these highs. And then do we finally break on through the downward sloping channel through this area and have an absolute mad altcoin rally, altcoin season? We very likely could. Ethereum Satoshi obviously helping out with driving the Bitcoin dominance, making some nice moves up here. Obviously wants to get all the way up to this area, but yeah, constructive in potential risk on price action here. So that is all looking good. Gold not doing a lot. That's silver. Gold not doing too much in this kind of range here, as we can see, practically trading sideways. It's yeah, I mean, it's just not really much to talk about, is there, in reality? So yeah, let's look at stochastics. How are they doing around here? 4 hour has a nice pullback, so not turning back up yet, but when it does, could potentially give us some support. I guess 10, 12 and daily are going to be coming down when they load. Yeah, 10 hour coming down, still got plenty of room to run. Downward pressure there. 12 hour the same, and then daily turning down from a high areas the same also. So these mid mid-term time frame levels, whatever they're called, are sort of indicating sideways to down, which obviously we're getting. So it depends whether we get supported here or maybe a bit lower. But obviously the higher time frames, 2-day, a bit extended but still pointing up. 3-day a bit, well, not a bit extended but losing a bit of its upward momentum, similar to the 2-day, but still pointing up nonetheless. And then 5-day looking great, weekly looking great, and bi-weekly looking to turn back up as well. So yeah, sort of. I mean, this is what I said in the, not yesterday's, we didn't have one yesterday, but the day before, was like we are looking at potential sideways to down consolidation, reset some of these mid time frame 10 12 round daily stochastics before then having another crack to the upside. Once these reset down, hopefully price can stay around here or certainly above, well, ideally 42. Then we can get the next move onwards and upwards, take out this area, end up in the 50,000s, and then see what happens around $53,000. So yeah, there you go, guys. Hope you guys all had a great week. Remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.